Hi everyone, my name is Kirk Vickers with Tricep Performance Training. This is our module 2 for the intermediate exercises. So what we're going to be doing here today is we're going to be going through 8 movements and 8 exercises. We'll give you the parameters and what we need to do and what each exercise looks like. I'll do a little demonstration of each exercise. Our first movement that we're going to demonstrate is called a static lunge. So we're going to be kind of, when you hear that word static, it means we're going to be kind of staying in place. We're not going to be jumping around or moving from this position. We're going to bring our legs out. One of the keys here, we want both toes to point straight ahead. We want to get as much length as we can, and we're making sure that this knee does not drive out over the toe. All right, we don't want our center of gravity way out in front of us. We want to keep our center of gravity over our hips, keep both feet pointing straight ahead. I recommend that you put your hands on your hips. We do not want your hands here. This is considered a cheat. We don't want you resting here. So put your hands here if you don't know what to do with your hands. Again, both toes are pointing straight ahead. We're going to drop down as deep as you can. If you can almost touch the floor, go as low as you can and then come up. 1, 2, light touch. If you can. If you can't, go as far as you can. 3. We're going to go 10 to 15, and then we're going to switch it and go 10 to 15. Obviously, on the other side, we're going to keep it even. So we want to keep the rep range even from side to side. So if you do 10 to 15 on one side, if you do 10 on one side, you want to do 10 on the other side. If you get 15, we don't want to do 10 on the other side. We want to keep it even. Okay, now we're into our second exercise, which is going to be a push-up. Now this push-up, we're going to do a good planked push-up here. We want our feet slightly outside of our hips, and we want our hands outside of our shoulders, not too wide, but not too narrow. We want to be just outside our shoulders. We want to be about eye level. We want the thumbs like in position with the ears. We're going to come all the way down. We're going to come all the way out. We're going to lock that out. We're going to keep we're going to be in a nice plank position. We're going to keep our abdominals engaged. So we're going to go here. We're going to go all the way down. Touch chin and chest, lock out at the top, down and up, down and up. We're going to do 10 to 15 is our rep range on that. So if you can do 10, great. If you can do a few more, 15. You can always do more, and what we want is some good fatigue at that. Remember, we're going to go through this 3 times. So that we're going to go through all 8, and then we're going to repeat these movements again and do the same sequence on the second and third time through. Our next movement is our third movement. It's going to be a core movement through the midsection of the body. We're going to really be isolating the abdominals here a little bit. This is a diagonal sit-up. So let me demonstrate that for you. We're going to lay all the way down to the floor, the knees bent flat on the floor. We're going to bring our head down. We're going to cross, leg over the opposite knee. We're going to take the same hand and bring it across the rib cage. We're going to kind of lock the body down through the trunk. We're going to take an open hand and place it at our temple on the opposite side. We're going to take this elbow and come up across the body, touch and come back. We're not going to rest. We're not going to come all the way down to a rested position. We're going to kind of engage the neck musculature. That's part of our core, and that's an area that we also want to engage. So we're thinking of the core all the way through the entire body here. So as we come up, we're going to exhale, coming up, come back, come up, and try to get that elbow to the opposite knee. We're going to go, our rep range here is going to be 10 to 15. Then of course we're going to switch, both arm and leg, crossing over, opposite hand to the temple, come up, rotate that body across, and again, 10 to 15 there. Make sure you're not having any low back pain or issues there. If you do, we need to talk and discuss a modification for that. Movement number 4 is a single leg touch squat. Pretty much tells you what's going on here. We're going to, again, go by a wall if you need to in case you lose your balance. Again, one of the things we want to do on balance is we don't want to put that other foot down. Even if we have to hop, it's better than putting that foot down. If that foot comes down, the balance completely shuts off, and we kind of got to reload that. So we want to try to stay, we call that time on tension. We want to keep that tension on that leg for as long as we can. So the focus here is balance and stability of the foot and the ankle. We're going to get some loading through the hip, the glute area, a little bit of quad and hamstring as well. So we're going to touch down, come up, and then lift our hands all the way over. We're going to come down, touch, and then bring our hands all the way over. If you have to touch down, you have the wall here where you can kind of touch down if you have to. If you have to jump a little bit, again, that's better than putting the foot down. Again, our rep range is going to be 10 to 15. Of course, we're going to do the same amount on the opposite side. We're going to go down, touch, let that leg come back. This is one time where the knee might come out over the toe a little bit, and it's allowable on this particular motion because most of our load is going to be in that glute area, this big muscle on the back side here. So if you'll see that that knee's come up forward over the knee, but my load is all here in that hip. Down, touch, come up and overhead. And that's a bit challenging. We're going to do 10 to 15 on that. Okay, we're keeping this really simple. The only thing we're going to need in all this whole exercise routine is your own body weight and a chair. So we're going to use a chair to demonstrate this next one. It's going to be a tricep depth. We're going to engage the tricep muscle here. That's the back side of the arm muscle, the upper arm muscle. And so we're going to go here on a chair. Make sure, one of the things I want to make sure of, if you've had wrist problems or any issues through your hands or your wrist, you got to be careful there. If you get any pain or discomfort in that area, again, we need to talk and create a modification for you. But if you're good, we're going to go here, we're going to walk out. We're not going to let our hips come way out here. We're going to keep our hips closed, but walk our legs out. We want our legs almost fully extended here. We're going to go down as deep as we can, pull the shoulders back, and drive straight through. You're going to find that most of the weight is on the meaty part of the hand right in here. We're going to go down and come up. Make sure there's no real shoulder pain here. You're going to feel a little bit of engagement there, but I don't want a lot of irritation or pain in that area. We want most of that focus on that backside and that tricep area. So again, we're going to go 10 to 15 down, come up, extend the legs, down, come up, down, come up. Again, make sure you don't hold your breath through these exercises. Make sure you're breathing through all the exercises. Remember, breathing creates energy, creates oxygen, and we can't produce oxygen, we can't produce energy without oxygen. So make sure you're breathing, that's important. Thank you. Our next movement is going to be another core exercise. We're going to go all the way to the floor. We're going to lay face down. This is a Superman motion and movement. So we're going to lay face down. We're going to extend our arms and our legs, and the emphasis is going to be in our low back area, through that midsection of the low back. You're going to feel a little bit of grab, a little bit of loading in there. If you've had low back pain and problems, we want to be sensitive to that. Make sure that there's not too much grab in that area. We want it to be muscular engagement and not pain. We're looking for fatigue, but not pain. I want you to be smart here. When in doubt, let's just move away from that. There's so many modifications that we can put into place if we have to. So if that doesn't work for you, I want you to be sensitive to that, especially if you've had some past history of some low back pain or problems and issues. So we're going to go all the way to the floor. We're going to extend our arms and our legs, and there's a couple variations that we're going to do here. We're going to go here. We can come off the ground and then touch and come up. Look straight down, lift up and look up just a little bit. Look up. 10 to 15. Now, if we want to make that a little bit more challenging, what we can do is not touch down with our hands and our toes. So we'll lift them up here, and now lift up a little bit here and here. Keep it loaded the whole time. You feel like you're getting a lot of grab in that area. That's where we should feel that. We shouldn't feel any pain central or in the middle of the back. We should feel it off to the side. Those two muscles called the erector spinae. That's what we're trying to focus on. 10 to 15 on that, and you got a couple modifications and a couple variations on that. Our next movement is a straight leg hip circle. This is for balance and mobility of the hip. So we're going to stand. Again, we want to be next to a wall in case we lose our balance. We're going to go straight leg. We're going to put it out in front of us, raise the leg a little bit, and then we're going to circle around. You're going to find that there's a lot of work even on the down foot. You got to stabilize with that. We've got a lot of load in the hip. We're going to circle around clockwise. We're going to go 10 to 15 clockwise, then 10 to 15 counterclockwise. The goal here, I'm going to do this from the front so you can see this a little bit better. We want to cross the midline of the body again. Here. If you find yourself your hips are all over the place, you may want to hold on for that. or you may even want to go into the beginner level and back up a little bit on that. So let's be smart with that. Here, around 10 to 15, and then 10 to 15, the opposite direction. Keep that down foot pointing straight ahead, and then of course we want to go to the opposite side, same amount on the opposite leg, 10 to 15, and then 10 to 15. Going in the opposite direction. So 10 to 15 counterclockwise, 10 to 15 clockwise, and then switch legs. Our last movement in our intermediate module is going to be a high knee run. So we're going to work on some cardio here, some hip flexors, some shoulder and arm drive. So I'm going to go sideways here, and we're just going to bring our knees up. And the higher the amplitude, the more energy we're going to expend. We're going to try to go for about a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, somewhere in there. Time yourself, but try to bring those knees up high, driving the head up, bringing those knees up, driving those arms. Again, one of the things that we're looking for at the end of that, we don't want to be this. If you can't carry on a conversation, that's a little too much intensity. Just bring it down just a little bit. You should be a little tired. It's a little bit hard to carry on a conversation, but it shouldn't be out of control. All right? One thing we want to talk about is recovery, and we don't want to take a lot of time. Really, we want about 30 seconds to no more than a minute between each exercise. Make sure you're breathing. We talk about recovery breathing here at Triad. And what that means is we're going to breathe through our nose and exhale through our mouth. Trying to take air in, fill up those lungs, breathe through the nose and the mouth. Take the air in through the nose, that slows you down a little bit, and then exhale through the nose and the mouth. Really trying to expand the lungs and the rib cage and open that up so we can get some oxygen into our system and be a little bit more efficient and get ready for that next exercise. This is something that you actually need to be focused on as you're exercising as well, if you can.